Hey, what's going on? Amy Nicholas. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, say hello in the comments down below. I personally am a newbie trader. This is month 4 for me. And in today's video, I'm going over Monday, March 10th, day trading. This is take 2. I had no audio the first one, so thank you guys for letting me know that in the comments. So hopefully we'll just get a better video. It'll be less of me rambling. Real quick though, in the description and comments below, I've included a link to my day trading resources guide. Totally free. Just have to put your email and type a 0 for the price. Just put 0. And you can download, or excuse me, you can get access to a doc, a working Google Doc, that I'm keeping track of all the resources that have helped me with day trading. I did a video recently. If you maybe go back on my channel, you'll see it was like how I learned to day trade. And I included a bunch of YouTubers and books that I was reading and studying. And I'm putting all that into this doc, as well as I will be updating it as I study, as I grow and progress. So just keep that link handy so that you can come back and just, click on the links and revisit. So at any rate, we had a red day to start the week. Sometimes it's just one of those things where you're like, man, I really didn't want to start my week this way, but the markets they're not super easy to read right now, at least not for a newbie like myself. No excuses, but just that's kind of the challenge that I think is happening for me right now. I took 4 trades, and the first trade, I actually waited this morning before jumping in too quickly because I wanted to get a good feel, like which direction are we going? I had 4 things on my watch list. I had AppLovin, Tesla, AVGO or Broadcom, and Nvidia. And for the first 10 to 15 minutes, it was kind of not very clear which way these stocks were going. And I was looking for opportunities either to go long or short on these stocks. Now, the ones I was going to go short was Tesla and Nvidia, really, but that just didn't play out. It was kind of just a lot of ranging in the beginning. And usually the last couple of weeks, it's been more clear cut. Within the first 15 minutes, even the first 5 or 10 minutes, you can usually find a good momentum trade, which is what I like to jump in on, where I can get a range of, a good $5-6 or something on Tesla, something like that. And it just wasn't playing out that way. It was sort of in this choppy zone. And I waited till about 6:45 to take the first trade. And I thought, okay, this feels like a good time to go long on Tesla because it looked like it was going green. The 3-minute chart was showing a green candle. The 1-minute chart, I waited for the second 1-minute candle to show green. The MACD was starting to point up. So it was kind of like I got these confirmations that, I think the trend is going up and all that sort of thing. And it did not go that way. Now, granted, I had moved my stop loss on this to 15 cents because TSLR is an ETF that tracks Tesla. If you want to go long on Tesla, it's only a $15 ETF. So you have to set your stops and your take profits a little bit differently than if it's a $30, $40, $50, kind of stock. And so I said, let me do 15 in hopes that I can maybe get 30 cent, take profit out of it. Well, it quickly stopped me out, which is kind of unusual for these ETFs that are low price, that don't move super fast. But I guess that's how much Tesla moved in that time frame. Instead of going up, it immediately went down. And I got a loss of $7.74. So my new goal for this week was to take a loss of $7.50 per trade and only trade, up to a max loss daily of $15. And right away I'm stopped out for just a little over half. And I was like, okay, wait, try again. This time I'll go short, And this is where I goofed. And it would have potentially been a green trade. I mean, it technically was, but it would have been a better green trade had I done this properly. I wrote on my notes after this happened, slow down. Because what happened was, I guess I was too much in a hurry to get back into the market to try to catch a move. And what I did was I did not change the field where you put the take profit amount. So what ended up happening in Thinkorswim was that this field, it pre-fills whatever the buy price is. And you have to manually change that, whether you want to go for 50 cent, dollar, whatever you're trying to achieve here. And I just was in a hurry and didn't set it. So next thing you know, the trade executes and I'm like, whoa, that was really fast. Like it was within like 5 seconds. And I'm like, what just happened? And I realized in that moment, I forgot to change that price. So it was actually green 15 cents on it, but it was frustrating because it was like, I was in a hurry and I missed the chance for potentially a good winning trade had I taken my time, So yeah, it just sold really quickly because as soon as I bought in, I think it adjusted the buy price right as I bought in because it was going down a little bit. And then it moved to the profit price, which was the initial potential buy-in price. So that's how I ended up with that one. Number 3, I tried to go short again, this time only taking 10 shares instead of, I think the one before that I took 20 or 25, I forgot to write it down. And this one I changed my stop loss to 35 cents. So last week I talked about doing 40-cent stops and I was wanting to test 30. And I think because of the way the market was ranging, I was like, well, let me just try to do 35 and see if that gives me enough leeway. Maybe I'll have a little bit longer time in the trade and a little bit better chance. Well, unfortunately, I got stopped out again. And this one was a loss of $3.80. So that was my stats at that point was red, green, red. And I was like, it's not quite going the way I wanted. So the last trade I took, I made sure, I wasn't going to go over my max of $15 for the day and, set it, and went for 15 shares on TSLR at, I don't even know what was the loss on that. I'm looking at it, I'm like, I didn't add it. It must have been a couple dollars. Cause I was already red like about $12. I think it was like a $2 loss. I got stopped out and that one I instead of doing what I did on trade number 1 with the stop at 15 cents TSLR, I did 22 cents thinking, again, give myself a little bit of leeway, but still it just did not play out the way I was hoping. So the total loss of the day was $14.70. So it's just under my 15. And of course at that point I'm like, of course I'm done. I'm not taking any more trades. And I felt already by that point that 4 trades was too many. And that I was rushing, because I even wrote during, I think after trade number 3, feel like I'm rushing trades or trying to be in a trade and I'm not waiting for A+ setups. And what I've started to notice in the last couple weeks, specifically last week, this really started to stand out, was that it's taking longer for certain moves to happen. So it used to be that I could get in and out of the market, day trade within the first hour, find a good momentum trade, no problem. Whether I won or lost, whatever, there was an opportunity. Now I feel like I gotta be kind of watching the charts longer, 90 minutes, 2 hours after open, in order to see some of the bigger moves play out and just kind of take time to get in those, because I feel like I'm just not getting these A+ setups, and that's what's hurting my chances of success here, of getting, out with a profit. It's not so obvious right now. Sometimes when I look at the charts, it's not so like, oh, clearly this is going up or clearly this is going down, and you see like a repeatable trend that you can ride the wave. It's been a lot of range and chop. And when I looked at the other stocks that were on my watch list, it was like kind of the same story. Or, there'd be these small moves, but by the time I'd see it, it already had happened, already played out. Wasn't going to try to chase it, specifically with AVGO. And, and then things started to kind of go down on most everything. And by that point, I was at my loss for the day. I'm like, okay, well, I'm out. Like, that's it. And then literally it was like 5 or 10 minutes after I walk away that, of course, all the big moves started to happen and things started to really sell off. And I was like, dang it, And so I just tried to kind of take perspective, like, let's zoom out. Let's just take a moment and say, what was the goal here? And for me right now, the goal is not to be profitable or, have only so many losses or have some, percentage rate or even profit ratio or anything that. Right now, the goal is to actually just learn something from every single trade so that I can take that information and I can use it to become a more profitable day trader. That is the goal. Like, that's it, period. Right now, that, as long as I'm following my rules, my strategy, my risk management rules, all of those things being said, which today was, check box, like did that, didn't go crazy, didn't do anything I regret doing. Just having to reframe so that you don't walk away feeling like, just reframing what's the goal here. I want to learn, right? I want to learn from every trade because this is the cost of tuition. I'm sure you've heard that before. This is what you're actually paying for when you take a loss. And if you see it as that, then you can say, okay, I've paid that lesson and now, on to the next one. And just have that resiliency, that sort of like, okay, we're not rehashing, yesterday or the week before, or the month before. We're here and now, we're taking what we can from this day and we're going to apply it to make ourselves better traders for the next one. So that's really just the goal here. And so when I was feeling kind of like, not so great this morning, it was like, just remember like what this is really about, okay? And also when you zoom out, you can say, well, what else is good here in my life? Like, what else is going right? There's many other things that I could say, I'm really happy with and things are going well. I have my health and I'm able to make these YouTube videos and you guys are showing up and watching and liking. Thank you. And just all these other things. It really takes what seems so big and monumental in the moment of whether you won or lost the day, it makes that seem much, much smaller and less significant as far as its effect on your life, And I think that's an important place to be. Just take a moment, just be grateful, like wherever you are on the journey, that you've got experiences, you've got some capital to trade with. If you're playing with real money, if you're trading with real money, that you've got, high-speed internet and you've got access to be able to do these things. Like think back 20 years ago, 10 years ago, it wasn't so easy to trade. And to day trade used to cost like a lot of money in commissions, right? Now we don't even have to worry about that. It's like you could just be in and out. It's like pennies on some of these ETFs that I trade. It's nothing, right? So putting things into perspective, I think, is really helpful. I had wrote some notes after the trading of kind of adjustments I also want to make. This is kind of like an ongoing thing for me because as I kind of figure out the markets, which are ever volatile, ever changing, just kind of all over the place, right? And then I'm trying to figure out, okay, what can I improve on, right, every day? And one of the things I want to test is I noticed the ETF TSLR. Every time I've bought that thing, there's a delay in execution on Thinkorswim. It shouldn't have problems with liquidity because I believe this thing trades with quite a bit of volume. I don't know if it's, a glitch or something on Thinkorswim. I'm just pulling up the volume thing here. Yeah, it's like an average volume of 1.74 and today's volume was 4 million. So why there's these glitches where it seems like it takes 5 to 7 seconds for my trade to execute when I buy, I don't know. So I'm going to try TSLL, which is basically the same thing, just a different ETF. Also very liquid. And I'm going to try that if I want to go long on Tesla in the future. I'm worried about slippage is kind of what I'm thinking. It's like, am I getting the best price here if it's taking that long to actually go through? I don't know. The other thing I thought was, maybe trying to, if I'm trading these ranging markets, to look maybe for a little bit more of a scalp than trying to always go for a big momentum move. Just something I'm kind of considering, adapting to a different strategy. That's not necessarily where I want to go, but you got to be adaptable and flexible in these markets, right? The other thing I wanted to try is the stop loss, because I'm playing around with that in the sense of, how can I improve on my entry, but also not get kicked out so soon? It seems like it just happens like very quickly these days. And I mentioned in my last update video, the March update video, that I want to work on my entries. Like, I know this is a thing that I need to work on. And if I can get that better, then of course I can get a better play. But I also thought, what if I just tested some different things, and who knows, maybe I'm really close to a good stop for what I'm trading, but because Tesla's so volatile, maybe I'm just missing the mark a little bit. So I think when I'm not actively doing my two major trades of the day, or one major trade that is green, I'm going to play around in Thinkorswim and just buy one share at a time and do a wide stop somewhere between 45 cents to $1. Just try different ranges in there to see what happens. As long as I'm reading the chart and feeling confident as I'm going in, like, just try to see, does that change the game at all? Does that help me perform better if I have just a little bit more leeway? Because I remember, I think this was maybe at least a month ago, maybe even longer, I remember having like a 60-cent stop loss. And I had a winning trade. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if, that was one of the reasons why. Who knows? The other thing was, I want to do a max of 3 trades a day. So if I'm green on one of the first 2 and I go for that third one, regardless of it being green or red, like that's kind of it for me. I don't want to overstay my welcome one way or the other. I also think if you have 2 red and then you try to go for that third one, in the back of your mind, you're thinking, is this even going to work out, right? So like a little bit of thinking too much of the day already and how it's gone, and maybe that affects your third trade anyway. So yeah, I'd rather just kind of stick to that and then keep doing my 750 loss per trade, and then widening the time frame of when I'm actually sitting and day trading, because I feel like some of these good moves I'm missing. I'm just not here present long enough, right? So yeah, I hope this video helps you. It's challenging, of course, in the beginning. I'm trying to just really work on the mindset of it, because as I sort of put together a system for myself and got risk management ideas, and I tweak things and all that makes it feel more structured for me, and not so like, oh, I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. And then it kind of came to me that I needed to focus on the mindset aspect, and that to be a really good loser, and really learn from every trade, this is key, because eventually I'm going to suck less. And I'm looking forward to that day, where it's like things just start to make sense a little bit more, and then a little bit more and a little bit more. And, of course, still having losing trades and losing days and things, but that you feel like you're at least making progress. And I think that's, for me, the ultimate goal is, when I say that I want to learn from every trade, it's a feeling of progress each time. And if you're progressing, you feel like you're moving. Earl Nightingale, the great motivational speaker, he said, success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile dream. And that's really the key word, progressive. You're making progress, right? So guys, keep at it. We're going to get there. Feel free to check out the link of my day trading resources down below. Like I said, you just got to put your email in, type the 0 so you get it free, and it'll open a link, and then you can see the Google Doc that'll be active and live. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.